Okay, try this one more time. We're gonna do Autumn's hair. Say hi, Autumn.
Hello.
In 18th century with this adorable cap right here, which is already stuffed. And I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. I'm gonna hand you over to Patrick so he can follow along. And connection. Okay, so I wasn't really prepared to do 18th century hair this weekend, so I did not bring my big tub of pomade and my big tub of powder. So we are going to use the samples. We're going to use pomade. This is the gray powder. We're not going to powder for hair like crazy, like you might think. It's just to help get that proof in the front. So I'm going to have you hold just a couple things. So the whole goal, if you guys can see this cap, is that there is a poof in this cap, and this poof needs to be poofed up. If you don't have the hair for it, you have to put something in it to poof it up. So right now, we should have wool in here or a neckerchief, but we have batting. That's the way I pulled it, I think, from the last event that I did a video at. So when you're wearing a cap, your hair doesn't have to be crazy fabulous. It just needs to have a small poof. If you do this in the early 18th century, or 1700s to like 1750, 1760, you don't need that much of a poof. You really don't. It's flat style. 1760, 1770, 1780, those are the big styles. So we're going to do like a medium poof. So we're going to do like a 1760-ish poof. So the first thing I'm going to do is we have a boar bristle brush. I'm going to just brush a little bit of her hair, and we're going to get a little bit of pomade in it.
And that's a powder brush, right?
Yes, this is a powder brush. Now, had I actually had all my historical stuff ready to go, I would have been using a comb like this for the first comb through, but I don't, so I only have my powder brush. Alright, so can you just hold up for a second? Alright, so hair care, hair maintenance was really important in the 18th century. A lot of people think that 18th century hair was just absolutely disgusting, and in some cases it might have been, but in general it's not at all like you guys were taught. You actually, washed your hair every once in a while. You had dry shampoo, which is your powder, to brush through, so you would be getting all the dirt and the grime out. So now I'm just going to take the pomade, and this is too much pomade, okay, you guys? This right here is the right amount of pomade. Very, very little. So what I'm going to do is rub that all together, and I'm just going to put a little bit of pomade in her hair. Now, historical pomade is made out of various fats, so pig fat, mutton fat, all kinds of different fats. So our main goal is to get a poof up front. So after we powder, see when we do this right now, the poof doesn't really hold the shape it's supposed to hold. But after we get some powder in there, it will hold really nicely. And it gets a little difficult if you don't use your powder and pomade to get your front poof. You want to work your pomade in. And Autumn has really beautiful hair. We could actually do a lot of cool stuff with her hair, but because it's going to be up in a cap, we're just going to do the minimum. Okay, so ideally you would have a powder shaker and you would have a powder puff. Today we're going to improvise. So this is gray hair powder. Original gray hair powder was made out of ashes. You would powder the ashes. This gray hair powder is made out of powdered lavender, so it's a little bit nicer for you guys. And it looks kind of weird. I don't know if you want to zoom in, Patrick. If you guys can see all these little like dandruff pieces in here, that has to get combed out. Okay, so that's what your boar bristle brush is for. And we're kind of massaging it in right now. And this is me improvising because I don't have my 18th century hair stuff here to do this with. So, but it works. Like, you have to do what you have to do, right? So I am not doing her whole head in this. I'm going to only do the parts that show. If you were doing the whole head, historical 18th century manuals say that you would start at the bottom. You would part it, you would pomade, and you would powder, and then you would style and you would powder again. Autumn would have to do that if that's what she was doing with her 18th century hair. She would have to start at the bottom and work her way up. Again today, because we are just doing her front, so historical hair powders were everything from various starches to dried bones. Wheat starch was very common. And we have that all in the shop, right down to the dried bone hair powder. How are you doing? You got a little bit on your forehead? We'll get that off. Or if you just have you tilt your head this way. Alright. So this is a really good start for her. And now we're going to take our Orbital powder brush. Very important. You're going to need one of these. They didn't have like brushes like we think of in the 18th century. This is technically like a hair powder comb, not a brush. So I don't know, Patrick, if you can see how we're working it in. We still have some of these dots in here. This brush is full right now. We have to clean off our brush, and then we're going to keep going. Now, some French in the 18th century did powder their hair very, very white, especially in the early 18th century. And if that is what you're portraying, feel free to do that, especially if you went to court.
Would you still use pomade for very fine hair?
Yes. The only way I can get my hair up with my fine hair is pomade and powder. We just posted a video on YouTube where I did not pomade and powder in the morning because I wanted to show you guys, see if I could actually do it, and it took forever. Next morning I pomade and powdered, and I was able to get it up in just a few minutes. So for fine hair, it's very, very important that you pomade and powder.
She was worried about it weighing her hair down.
Oh no, that's why you're going to brush it out. You're going to brush the powder out. So as you can see now, it's not like we actually have tons of powder in her hair, but it's actually given it a lot of body.
Yeah, you don't really want the powder to show.
Right. Okay, so for those of us who want a really simple 18th century poof, see how nice that went up? And the last time it had like big empty pieces in there. So what I'm going to show you is how we're going to do Autumn's poof with a roller. Now in the 18th century, you would have had these. They would have been wool. We have a ad from Colonial Williamsburg that you can get your new wool ones with wire in them so they can bend to make it easier for ladies to do their hair at home by themselves. These come apart. You can either use them apart or you don't have to, and then you just roll your hair down. Okay, so now I don't know if you can see on top the nice big poof that I have here. Then you would bend it and you would poof it, just like this. Okay, do you want to close that for me? And then I'll trade you. That can stay in your lap, I'll take this. And then if you can hand me some bobby pins. Do you like my handy dandy bobby pin bag? You would think as a historical hairdresser I would have like a historical bag of bobby pins.
It's not hairpin, those are hairpins.
Okay, so these are hairpins. These are the correct 18th century pin. This one right here is not. We have steel ones in the trunk over there. That's what the ladies would have used. These ones are pretty flimsy, which work really great for fine hair. If you have thick hair, you're going to need the historical steel ones. These right here are bobby pins. They're called bobby pins because they were invented in the 1920s for the bob, the 1920s bob. But we still use them here because they come in handy. So Patrick, if you want to just show them what I'm doing here. See how my finger is holding the supporter right here, the Poof supporter, the hair roll? My bobby pin is going to slide right on top of that. Did that hurt, Autumn?
No.
Okay. So now that one is secure. I could have another bobby pin. And we're going to do it again on this side. Okay, so it goes right on top. Okay, so it's secure. That just took 2 pins. Now you can kind of move it however you want to. If you have flyaways, you would just take your pomade, a little bit of pomade, and you would just kind of pomade it up like this. I'm going to hand this back to you. So now her cap has little lappets on the side that cover her ears. So not much is going to happen with her ears, but this is how you would do it if you were rolling it without. We have wooden hair rollers, and we have Poof rollers, all sorts of stuff. But if you're doing it on your own, you would first need a little bit of pomade just to kind of even this out, take care of the flyaways. Okay. Now ideally you would brush this out, but I'm not going to. You flip it on the back like this. I don't know if you can see this. And then you just start rolling and tuck that in. Keep rolling. Okay, I don't know if you can see this picture. And my finger is in there holding it. It's not perfect, but the cap is going to cover it.
That's what our wooden rollers are for.
That's what the wooden rollers, and the wooden rollers are shown in, I'm going to totally botch this, Diderot's Encyclopedia. Can I have another one? Sometimes it's hard when you have restricted arm movement. All right, I'll take a hairpin.
Rachel says you look great.
Thanks. I feel like a mess. But I look awesome. Alright, so now we're taking the hairpin and we're just flipping it like this, and we're going to catch it and just pin it back. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Sorry. All right, remember, let's just get a little bit of pomade here, just for the frizzies. We're going to start rolling.
My mind start out small on this
Okay, so we're going to pin it in. Excellent. So here's a piece and here's a piece. We're going to pull a little bit of this piece over to combine it so it looks like one piece. And the back, all we're going to do, this is something that, I'm trying to think of the artist. Can't think of the artist, you guys, but anyway, he was really keen on hair twisting and hair rolling. He didn't really like all the powder. So when you look at his portraits of kind of everyday things happening, you will see a lot of women in the classic twists. Can you think of it?
Yeah, I know her.
He's the guy we have hanging in our dining room.
Yeah, I know.
I'll take another
He
hit.
did the Rake's Progress.
Yeah. I think it starts with a B, but I'm like so lost. Okay, so this is it. It's very simple. It's kind of messy, but it's going to look really awesome. Okay, so first thing you guys do with your caps, make sure your caps are untied, okay? Now she's got more hair than I do, so I don't know if she's going to actually need all of it. Okay. So
Oh, man.
let's get the proofs in there. Alright, so
And that bump is very important.
yeah, for this style cap, the bump is very important. Actually, put some more of this in there.
That looks good.
Alright, so just look at me so I can make sure that I have this.
Like 4 feet long, like
Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to pin this. Okay, if you want to set this down and just hold your cap, like just like that.
Autumn, it looks like you're going, oh my god!
Alright, normally you would use stick pins. I have no idea where my jar is. Alright, I got it. So now what you're going to do, you guys, flip this up, and I don't want to hurt your head. And you're going to pin into your hair. And that's why the rolls help. So this is actually completely hidden. Okay, next, the last thing you want to do is come around the back. Does that feel a lot better, Autumn? Okay, and tighten this up. That's why you have to have your cords. All right, if your mom has more stick pins, I'm more than happy to, can you find me another hairpin? And find me another one. Okay, look straight at me. So when you look in the mirror, ladies, you just want to make sure that, so Autumn's going to look at me, and like this is kind of poking out a little bit more than the other side. We're going to attempt to fix that here. Let me grab some more. Lavender, rose. So ladies, this is where your toilet water comes in handy. This is what you would do for like a refresher on the face to clean off all your powder. Because you don't see this right here. I don't know if you zoom in. You don't want powder in your hairline. That's not cool. So you just want to kind of make sure that the powder is not in the hairline. Make sure it's not on. You want a little bit of rouge on your cheeks?
Wait till you see that.
Okay, so for Autumn, what we're going to do as a young lady, we're going to give her like a little bit of coral rouge. Again, we're just going to...
it is full.
Okay, look at me, make sure I get it all.
Darn, you're making a mini you.
I am.
What is that? Is he there?
Oh, it's Autumn.
Oh,
Okay,
Autumn?
she's going to have just a little bit on her nose.
I'll get you guys all straight eventually.
A little bit on her forehead. Okay, I'm going to grab the water one more time. Okay, so this is also good with water. If you got like a little bit too much rouge, you just take your toilet water and you can use it to kind of smooth things out. Do you want your eyebrows done as long as you're...
Sure. Go do it.
Okay, so we're going to use clove for her eyebrows. This is the 18th century, one of the 18th century ways of darkening your eyebrows. I messed up. Comes off. Just take a look at me. Okay. Need some more rose water.
Oh, nice, yeah. Yeah, buffalo and keep a little.
Yeah. Yes, you're so
Looks
cute.
beautiful.
Do you want to see?
Sure. Hot around my hands.
I do think Do you like it? There you go, yeah. Just go get your picture taken. So there you have an example of how we dressed her hair and did her makeup. Just something really, really simple. We used the coral rouge. We did the burnt cloves. Very simple with the hair, and she looks absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable. So thank you so much for coming in, and have a good day, okay?
You too. Thank
We'll see
you.
you guys in your booth. Okay, so now we're going to be done with Facebook Live for a while because we actually should probably run the shop. So thanks guys for tuning in. We'll make sure to get these up on YouTube and ask questions. We will check back. Who knows what else we may do later. So stay tuned. You never know what's going to happen. Thanks guys.